Previously on Animorphs.
But Chris, you promised me you'd help me with my homework tonight.
And you told me that you'd take me to the movies tonight.
Whoops. Me and my big mouth.
So Tobias got a message just saying, "Join us if you want to save the world." No directions or clues as to where these people might be, but somehow Tobias knows exactly the right spot to find them. Albert Wesker meets him at the door, and Tobias finds himself in the hands of a group of freed hosts. They scan him for yerks using some kind of Willy Wonka sex toy and find him clean. Oh, tense. How is this going to play out? With Marco using Axe in Rabbit Morph to hit on a girl. He's looking for someone to go to the dance with him, and he almost seals the deal before Axe starts freaking out for some reason.
Ugh, I think there's something wrong with your rabbit.
Excuse me.
Animals being unpredictable is such a turn-off. I have no idea what Axe is trying to do here, or why he's freaking out like this, but Marco's cock is successfully blocked. Marco tries to find the girl again, but runs headfirst into subplot number 8. Some men are blocking off the entrance to the basement area of the school, claiming it's a gas leak. Marco says he doesn't smell any gas, but the man is insistent that Marco is not to go down there. Well, with that little diversion out of the way, we cut back to the resistance group. Tobias plays dumb, saying he thought this was some kind of bird-watching club. Not the best of lies, considering the level of secrecy this place has. Oh, I just thought the Illuminati were earning their Boy Scout badges. A more reasonable lie is that he was just following the trail of cookie crumbs. It's not unreasonable. There's nothing about what these kids are doing that says you have to know about yerks and andalites to figure out the scan the hawk into the computer puzzle thing. And then we cut again to more dance shenanigans. Really, guys, the freedom movement stuff is the most interesting thing about this entire finale. Stop getting me involved in it just to cut to some non sequitur. Jake hasn't gotten a tuxedo yet for the dance, but Cassie happens to have her grandfather's wedding tux, and it happens to be Jake's size, and I so don't care. Okay, back to the resistance movement. The leader Hugo relates his tale about how he escaped from the yerk pool. Really fucking easy, it looks like, but that should be no surprise to anyone at this point. As I expressed in my episode review of the release, I like this idea of exploring the lives of other people aware of the yerk invasion and how they cope, be it going nuts like Crazy Fran, run off into the woods like Mr. Perkins, or group together to fight these yerks like these kids. It's an avenue completely unexplored in the book series, and I say the one genuine positive addition Annie TV added to the Animorphs mythos, and the one genuine good subplot in this entire series finale. You know, it's no wonder Tobias split off from the rest of the group. He's the only one finding interesting stuff to do. Tobias tries to leave, but he accidentally drops Elfanger's disc. The jig is up, and they take him to a back room where a woman is fiddling around with bits of stolen alien technology. She puzzles over the disc for a while before pulling out the old holder prop, so I guess they didn't lose it after all. The more we see of this group, the more I like them, and I also like the implications some of this stuff has. Why is there so much Andalite technology here? Sure, you could say it's stuff the Yerks stole, but I like to think that other Andalites have landed on Earth on secret reconnaissance missions and left stuff behind. There's a lot of ways you could theorize about it, and it's a good thing. That's a show leaving you with questions in a positive way, rather than the stupid, how does World's Weirdest Videos work stuff. Now, accessing the content of this disc is dangerous, since it's made for alien brains, but Tobias says he'll try it if they promise to let him go. Snap back to the high school, where Marco is sneaking downstairs to figure out what's going on. What he sees shocks him.
Man, oh man. Oh man. Oh God, oh man. Oh God, oh man. Oh God, oh man.
We don't get to see what it is because it's not in the budget. Marco makes an escape with a lizard morph because it's always a lizard morph, but Bob Vila finds him and puts him in a wire cage, and Marco assumes if he demorphs inside the cage, the wires will slice him up. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but I'll run with it. Well, it's finally time for the dance. Chapman is there, going around and insisting that everyone be in the gym by 9 o'clock for the crowning of the King and Queen of Swing. And you know that 20 years from now, that Queen of Swing will be living in a trailer park somewhere, smoking food stamps, and boasting about how making Queen of Swing was her greatest accomplishment, and that she deserves more respect. Fuck, I've got a negative worldview. So Rachel is all alone, and, just how did she figure Tobias would be allowed into the dance? He's been missing, like on the side of a milk carton missing, for about half a year now. His truancy would no doubt result in him being removed from the school's roster. So if Tobias actually showed up for this, one of two things would probably happen. Either the school staff would attempt to subdue him and call the police, or simply not allow him in since he's not a student anymore. I mean, sure, some dances allow for guests, but if Rachel actually signed Tobias into the guest list, that means the staff would be prepared to pounce on him when he shows up, because obviously they care. Fuck, I've got a positive worldview. Oh, Axe is there, sporting a suit he no doubt stole and a new Jufro. I guess there isn't a guest list. Anyone can walk into the dance all willy-nilly. Marco starts calling for help, and Axe is just close enough to hear him, so he comes to the rescue. Back to the good part, Tobias gets strapped into a virtual boy. I guess this is how you're supposed to work the disc. The hologram triggered by casual contact approach was just a fluke. So they trigger the disc, and Tobias finds himself in a freaky dreamland, and you start to think that David Lynch is about to send out his dancing midget when Tobias finally finds himself in a blue void. There, the form of Elfangor appears, and he gives the whole "I am your father" spiel, without really getting into the details of how it happened. There's no mention of him becoming a human Nothlit on Earth, no mention of the Elemist or the Time Matrix, and really there's no point in bringing that stuff up at all in the final episode. Hell, the only reason we're going down this road at all is that it gives some kind of closure to the Annie-TV's main original idea, Elfangor's disc. And when you get down to it, oh god damn it, I don't care about the fucking dance. Marco tells everyone what he saw. It seems the Yeerks have installed a large portable Yeerk pool on the floor below, and have rigged the dance floor to collapse during the crowning of the King and Queen of Swing, so that everyone falls in and gets infested. Yes, it's one last scattershot plan for the Yeerks, only this time with people getting horribly killed and maimed. Not to mention completely impossible to cover up. It took hours to install the portable Yeerk pool. You really think they can get it out of there before the paramedics and firemen show up to drag the students out of the rubble? Yep, 26 episodes in, and the TV Yeerks haven't learned a goddamn thing. So what are the Animorphs going to do about this?
Little frontal attack maybe. A lion, a tiger, a snake or two. That ought to clear the place out.
Yeah, and put our school on the front page of every newspaper in the country.
So? No, really, so? What the fuck is wrong with that? What exactly is bad about this incident ending up in the papers? I mean, worst case scenario, it ends up as a lost tabloid tale that nobody cares about, and best case scenario, it takes the first steps in revealing the presence of the Yeerks to the rest of the world. What are the risks here? The Yeerks aren't heavily guarding this operation, and even if a few of them have weapons, we all know that Yeerks are cowards that'll run away at the first sight of a deadly animal. The Yeerks already think the Andalite bandits are using the school as a cover, so that's not going to change. In fact, if the Yeerks thought the Andalite bandits would be at the basketball game, you think they'd expect them to show up at the dance too, so it's their own damn fault this place isn't guarded so heavily. And since when have the Animorphs cared about this kind of discretion anyway? You've already wandered the school halls as a tiger. You've busted up an animal rights rally as a bear. Why do you care about this kind of thing now? Well, whatever. What's the backup plan? The plan is to cut back to Tobias, and I really wish they would pick a plot thread and run with it all the way before cutting to the next one. Visor 3 arrives with a handful of controllers. They don't tell us how they found the place, but then again, they don't tell us how Tobias found it either. Tobias and Elfangor's ghost chatted up for a bit.
Why did you travel all the way to Earth and risk your life for people you don't even know?
It was not for the people I don't know. It was for the one that I do.
Really, fuck the people I don't know. I couldn't give a shit. The resistant movement realizes the Yeerks are here and disconnect Tobias from the disc. Naturally, the resistant movement has no weapons, and there aren't really any escape plans besides scatter, so the Yeerks make quick work in gathering them up. I'm sure Tobias is realizing that he probably should have gotten a proper combat morph once he regained his morphing powers, but as it stands, he can do nothing but fly out the open window as the best part of the series finale is scooped up to be reinfested, and Visor 3 regains possession of the disc. Back at the dance, they scare the students away and skunk morph. Really, we go from the bummer conclusion of the resistance movement subplot to the Animorphs defeating the Yeerks once again with the power of stink. All the students regroup at the Cyber Cafe. Okay, really, the only thing open this late at my local mall is the movie theater and the Applebee's. Axe wonders why they can't just have the dance right here, and in response, Tobias shows up and puts a quarter in the jukebox that magically appeared there. We have never ever seen it before, and we've never heard music playing in any of the other scenes in the Cyber Cafe, so, magic jukebox. Why not?
Sorry I'm late.
I had to murder a cocktail lounge pianist for this tux. And so we end with the Animorphs dancing. Into the ether, into eternity, into cancellation. Post-episode follow-up. The finale is the best part of Season 2, but that's really not hard to do. And when you throw every idea you have at the wall at once, a few things are naturally going to stick. There are some genuinely interesting things here. Tobias and the resistance movement is the best thing the show's done in a while. And the Axe builds himself a spaceship plot had potential to be a good series capping moment if they actually thought to go forward with it. Sadly, for every interesting idea the finale gives us, it presents two other really stupid ones. The Yeerks were stupid to the very end. The animal testing plot goes nowhere. The Herald plot felt hateful, and the school dance stuff was just a distraction. While this certainly feels more like a finale than The Front, which aired after this in Canada, it really doesn't wrap anything up or end the series on any kind of satisfying conclusion. And everything Ron Oliver said in my interview with him indicated that they knew going into this that this was going to be the finale. The show wasn't canceled out of the blue. And yet, by the end of it all, the Yeerks aren't any stronger or weaker. Visor 3 isn't any less of the main baddie. In fact, the story has regressed a little with him reclaiming Elfangor's disc. All that's really happened is Tobias learning Elfangor is his father, which seemed more like a bone thrown to the book readers than anything else. You know, Face Off, the first season finale, felt more like a series finale than this does, in that the Yeerk pool was destroyed and Visor 3 was forced into hiding. If they had swapped things around, the Animorphs would have ended up on a much bigger high. But there's no use crying over 14-year-old television shows. Be sure to check out the epilogue after this to hear my final thoughts on AniTV as a whole. I give the entirety of Changes a 4 out of 10.
No! Come back here! You want a dance, you're gonna dance! Is that understood? Hello?